about the other team that did not go undefeated, were undefeated at the time and lost last night. That is the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills were 4-0 coming into this matchup against the New England Patriots. They lost 23-20. This was a very entertaining. I won't say entertaining is the word I use. This is a very competitive Sunday night football matchup. We have two teams that are division rivals. We had the Patriots, who have been in control of this division for 20 years, up until the last 5 years, where the Buffalo Bills have won the division in the last 5 years. But now they've got a new quarterback, Mr. Drake May, who I think quietly, up until last night, has been having a really good season. Not really good, but a decent season where you can see the growth. But yesterday was kind of like a coming out party of sorts. And I say that because the Patriots didn't have really, they might have had one primetime game last year, and I thought that May had a decent rookie season, a lot better than a lot of people thought that he would have. But yesterday, he showed his gun. Now, granted, he didn't have any touchdowns yesterday. And I know we live in a world where we look at the offensive output, touchdowns, that's all that matters. But if you actually watch the game, he was great. 22 of 30, 273 yards, converting big first down after big first down. He had a great connection with Stephon Diggs, who really went into Buffalo yesterday with a point to prove. Not Buffalo Bills, but Stephon Diggs had an incredible game. 10 receptions, 146 yards. Didn't get in the end zone, but he was just a menace, and he wouldn't let them breathe. Every time it looked like the Buffalo Bills defense was going to be able to get a stop, he came in right away and shut that down on that entire drive. The offense, the running game was up and down. Didn't really do too much in general. In fact, they only had about 70 yards rushing through all their backs. You had Trayvon Henderson had 24 yards off 6 carries. Ramondre Stevenson, that's a name, 14 yards off 7 carries, but he had 2 touchdowns. So you had a little balance there as well. But to me, the story right here isn't about the New England Patriots. And I say that because the Patriots is a great win for them. Great win for that organization. Great win for the new era under Mike Vrabel. But to me, what this was about was the Buffalo Bills. I said this. I told somebody this the other day. I don't think I tweeted it. But I said, with everything going on in the AFC right now, when you got the Bengals are out of it because Joe Burrow is, if not out for the rest, he should be out for the rest of the year because this team stinks and he should not be coming back to this mess. Let's just say he's out for the year. You got Lamar Jackson, the Ravens. That train got completely off the rails just to start the whole year. And now they've got major injuries and they lost again yesterday. And you got the inconsistency, I guess you want to call, of the Kansas City Chiefs, where the offense just doesn't look good whatsoever. And a lot of it has to do with the different receiving options that Patrick Mahomes has. He has, in my opinion, the worst weapons that he's ever had in his life. And that's showing right now. And that's without some of his best ones who still aren't playing. Xavier Worthy isn't playing. Rashee Rice isn't playing. But they're still lingering around. And if you're the Buffalo Bills, I said that they could have gone into that game against the Kansas City Chiefs in a couple weeks 7-0. I'm just not impressed by what I'm seeing. And I haven't been impressed from the jump because of how this defense looked. The defense is keeping everybody in it. The defense is allowing everybody a chance to win the game. And that's what we saw yesterday with the way that New England, it kind of felt like New England dictated the pace of the game from the jump. And this was something where the Buffalo Bills offense was trying to play catch up the entire time. And you can't do that against a team that, in my opinion, is way more inferior than the Buffalo Bills. At the Buffalo Bills, if you're going to be Super Bowl favorites, you got to play like it. I don't think they played like it yesterday. So Josh Allen had a pretty okay game on paper, 22 of 31, 253 yards, passing, 2 touchdowns. We had a bozo pick. Like, that was vintage rookie year Josh Allen that we saw yesterday in that second half. Probably should have had 2. The second one got taken away by a flag. But he was just so-so, not the MVP performance you wanted. He also led the team in rushing, which you cannot do. James Cook had 15 carries for 49 yards. So that Patriots defense wasn't allowing him to do anything or get anything off, which was also a real key. So if you're the Buffalo Bills, there's a lot of teams that you look in any sport where there's a team that's been on the rise for the last couple of years. They've got the talent. They've got the superstar players. They Maybe got the coach. And I think Sean McDermott is an okay coach. He's not, I don't think he's like an Andy Reid or, anything to that level. But, he's serviceable. I think you can win with him. There comes a point where you got to potential can only do so much, and now it's time to win. And I think that's where they're at right now, and that's why I also feel what Baltimore was at too before they just completely fell off the map. And if you can't win the AFC and at least make it to the Super Bowl, winning is whatever, but at least make it to the Super Bowl in a year where Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow aren't a factor because of how bad their teams are and all the injuries. In a year where you've got Patrick Mahomes looking the most vulnerable he's looked in his entire career, then it's just never going to happen. I do believe there's going to be an inevitable trade that's going to happen by the trade deadline that's probably going to bring a better player over to the Kansas City Chiefs, maybe a Alvin Kamara, maybe a Breece Hall. I hope it's not Breece Hall because I want the Bears to actually try to get Breece Hall at the deadline. But you got to really take advantage of this. And yesterday was a slip-up, in my opinion, where you can't allow that to happen in your own house. You can't get bullied the way they got bullied. That was something where the Patriots controlled everything from the jump. The Patriots defense let them know what they were and what they weren't going to do. And even the final touchdown, when they cut it down to like 7 points, so I don't want to call it a garbage time touchdown because it wasn't, because they were still in the game. But that was one of those late, let's see if we can get a miraculous comeback like we did against Baltimore week 1 type of things. And this defense of the New England Patriots just did not allow it whatsoever. So to me, the title race, just the NFL right now in general, this is why you see that the NFL is truly a week-to-week league, because anybody can get got. Anybody can get got. All the top teams have been knocked out. There's not one team in the league right now that I just look like is miles better than anybody. Every team from the quote-unquote contenders to the playoff teams to the in the hunt teams have had their bad and their good looks these first 5 weeks of the season. In order to be a champion, you just gotta play better. And I think that's what all the focus is right now on the Buffalo Bills is, can they step this up? I'm not really worried too much about the offense. I think yesterday they just run into a good New England Patriots defense. I think more times than not, they're going to look a lot better than they looked yesterday. But this defense is concerned. This defense is a major concern. This defense, I don't think is going to get changed throughout the season. When you're giving up the amount of yards and big plays that this defense does, you need to kind of go to the bend but don't break model. Which is something that will help them a lot because you have an elite quarterback, you have the MVP in the NFL, and he's going to be able to score more points than the other team more times than not. So can you at least hold teams to a respectable number? If they can do that, I feel really, really good about their chances. But if you look at their upcoming schedule now, this is why I said they couldn't afford to lose this game. You got 2 more games for that big matchup at home against the Kansas City Chiefs. You got the Atlanta Falcons in Atlanta. Should win that game, but Atlanta is a team that plays much better home than they do on the road. And then you got the Panthers, which I think they should flat out kick the Panthers' ass. If that's a game, then they're in more trouble than I thought. Catch I'm Not Gonna Hold You, hosted by Scott Lewis, every Monday and Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific, only on HNB Media and the Barbershop Network.